Hello and welcome back to Sustainable Teacher. If it is your first time here, my name is Leticia and I'm glad to meet you. And if you've been here before, I'm happy to see you again. In today's video, we start again after the Christmas break. So Happy New Year, and I hope you have a very nice Christmas break. In today's video, we will start a new unit, which is it's about the interaction function. So in the next 4 videos we will see different aspects of the interaction in humans. Today specifically we will focus on the general concepts of the interaction function, and also we will talk about the 5 senses and the 5 organs of senses we have. So if this video sounds interesting to you, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. We've talked a little bit about the interaction function in previous units. I'll leave the videos over there, and you already know that all living beings should interact with the environment, with themselves, to be a living being, right? So the interaction function is the ability to interact, to take information from the outside and give an answer according to that information, but not only from the outside but also in the inside of our body, as we will see during this unit. Usually outside or inside we will use receptors, but the effectors that will perform the answer are different. In the case of answering to external stimulus, we will we will use usually our locomotory system. In the case of if we are answering to internal stimuli, we will use the endocrine system, the hormones. The interaction function is in charge of detecting changes in the environment. Okay, we will perceive those changes thanks to our receptors. We will see which type of receptors do we have in the next slide, I guess. Usually receptors will be forming an organ, okay, which are the sense organs, but not always. Sometimes we will have isolated receptors, and in the end all the receptors are cells that have been differentiated and specialized in receiving one type of signal, one type of stimulus. And in between receiving the information and performing the answer, there is a step which is coordinating the information and processing the answer. Generally we will say that this is performed by the nervous system, our central nervous system. Not always, we will see it during the unit, okay? And apart from the nervous system, there is another system in charge of this, which is the endocrine system. Okay, in the very end, the endocrine system depends on the nervous system, but usually they work independently. So when we want to answer to an external stimulus, we will use the nervous system. When we want to answer to an internal stimulus, generally we will use the endocrine system. So about the receptors, as I told you before, we have internal receptors. Okay, they are located on our joints, around our organs, so they can detect if something is happening and we have to perform an answer. We won't see much more about them. Okay, they are just called internal receptors, and that's it. But about the external receptors, which are related with the organ senses, we will talk a little bit more. And we have 5 main types of receptors. I think the 5th type doesn't appear in your book, but I want to include it because they are relevant. Okay, so we have mechanoreceptors or mechanoceptors. You can see them written both ways. They will receive stimuli of movement, vibration, pressure, okay? So this is mainly the type of stimuli they can receive. So they will be usually related with the touch, right? We will see it later. We also have thermoreceptors. They receive changes of temperature, hot, cold, whatever. Will be also related in the touch. Then we have chemoreceptors. Chemoreceptors receive chemical substances, chemical signals. So we will find them mainly in the smell and in the taste. Photoreceptors receive light, so we will see them in the sight. And nociceptors, what they receive is pain. Pain is not in the mechano or thermoreceptors. Pain is received in a specific type of receptors, which are the nociceptors or nocireceptors. So let's see the 5 senses and we are done with this video. The touch, okay? Touch is what we have in our skin all around our body, okay? We can feel in any part of our skin, but some parts are more sensitive than others, right? For instance, the fingerprints have more sensitivity than, for instance, our back. We can do the game of like doing a number, drawing a number. If in our palm, we will almost always guess right the number, but if we do the same in our back, we probably not always guess the right number, okay? So this is because the concentration of mechanoreceptors, those cells that are modified to receive the touch, the pressure, the vibration, etc., are not equally concentrated, for instance, in our fingerprints than in our back. Apart from mechanoreceptors, we have thermoreceptors, of course, because we can feel if something is hotter or colder than our body. And nociceptors, of course, because we can feel pain, right, in our skin. Usually those cells can be or just free. The ending of the cell could be, it's like the ending of a neuron connected with a cell, okay? The cell could be just free, nothing is gonna be around them, but usually they are encapsulated. That means that there is a kind of membrane or tissue around to protect a little bit more the receptor. In any case, this cell will be connected to a neuron to transport this information from the point you are receiving it toward to the nervous system, okay? And I then said this, but of course they are not over the skin, they are under the skin. The skin is epithelial cells, you already know this, the video, I leave the video here. Under the skin we will have all these cell endings of those receptors for movement and temperature or pain. In here you can see a picture. The cells are differentiated and specialized, and depending on the type of stimulus or stimuli they receive, the shape will be different. Then, what's about the taste? The taste is mainly chemoreceptors, right? The chemoreceptors are forming groups of cells called taste buds or papilla in the technical scientific name, okay? So those taste buds are mainly on the tongue, okay? But they could be found all around the mouth, but specifically they are really concentrated on the tongue. What do they receive? They receive volatile substances. So what does mean? So when we eat, the chemical substances that give taste will mix with the saliva, and this is what we can detect, okay? And we have 5 main flavors that we can detect, which are salty, sweet, sour, bitter, and umami, which is a new flavor, which is just the when something is tasty, it's umami. Okay, so that's the 5th flavor It's quite recent. And before they used to say, like scientists used to say, that the tongue was different areas of the tongue were specialized in detecting each flavor. Okay, nowadays we know that this is not true. So in the end, all our papilla inside the tongue can detect, and there is not zones or areas specialized for any type of taste or flavor. They can detect everything in every place. Okay, the smell is also chemoreceptors. Also, we will detect volatile substances, but in this case, the substances should be dissolved in the air, not in saliva. Okay. Can we detect in all the nose, as I said before to you, that we can detect all around the mouth, more in the tongue, but in any part of the mouth, we can detect flavors. In the case of the nose, we can't. We know. Okay, we don't detect it all around the nose. The nose has a plate on the top in this part. Okay, in here, which is called the olfactory bulb, and in the olfactory bulb we have some kind of cilia, we can say. They are not cells. It's the only exception. In every other organ, the receptors are specialized cells in contact with a neuron. In the case of the olfactory bulb, because we are really near of the brain, the cells or the endings of those chemoreceptors are already neurons, and this is an exception. And the hearing, it's inside our ears. Okay, we have 3 sections inside the ear: the external, the medium, and the internal. The external is the one that we can see outside, and from the external to the internal we have a membrane. Okay, and after this membrane, all the ear is full of liquid. Okay, it's a type of lymph which is called endolymph and perilymph. Okay, and this is key to transport the sound. In the sound actually are waves, so it's the vibration of the air that once it gets in contact with the membrane will be changing into vibrations in this liquid. Okay, so if you remember before, I told you that are mechanoreceptors, that the one that detect vibration. So inside our ears, what we have is mechanoreceptors. Okay, that will detect those vibrations of the lymph, the endolymph, and they will transform. They can translate the vibrations into sound in our brain. This will be performed in the brain. Okay, so it's a translation. And also inside the ear is not only we don't only hear. The balance of our body is also inside here. We have some organs, and depending we have cilia and a plate, and depending on the position of those cilia and the plate, we can perceive the position of our body. And finally, the sight is, to me, at least in humans, the most complex organ. The eye has a lot of structures inside the eyeball. Mainly, we have 3 membranes, which is the sclera, the choroid, and the retina, which is the one in charge of receiving light. So all the photoreceptors are gonna be there. And those photoreceptors have inside some chemical substances that will be altered with the light. And in the alteration, they send some electric signals, chemoelectrical signals, that will be received in the ending of the nerves, which is the optical nerve, and we will transport it to the brain. And it's really interesting because those nerves are double inverted. What I mean? First, the nerves are crossed. So the right nerve, the optic nerve, will go to the left eye, and the left nerve will go to the right eye. And they are not only cross inverted in this way, they are upside down. So the way our brain processed pictures is really interesting. I have included also some illnesses related with the senses, okay? For instance, if we can have infections that won't, like COVID, right? That won't allow us to perceive the smell of the taste of things. Not only with infection this could happen, also if we smoke tobacco can cause the same process, okay? With the hearing I included also infections, right? But if we listen to really loud noises, we can also lose hearing with time. And for the sight, which is the last one, we have some vision abnormalities which are really common. That's why we use glasses, like myopia, so you can't see from far away, or astigmatism, that you can't focus properly the distance, okay? And this is the end of the units. I hope this was interesting for you. If you have any doubt, leave it in the comments, and of course, see you soon.